Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Destination Digital. I'm Sally Eves, aka The Professor, and hello everyone, welcome to the show today. Hello.
Thanks, Sal.
Right, I think we had a quick chat earlier about some of the topics we might cover. I think broad areas from startups and entrepreneurship to education to STEAM learning to hackathons, and also some of the big news around trade and industry that's happening across the world right now. So I think I'm going to go for Tony because I've got some exciting news that I have a feeling you might be talking about. So do you want to share some of your kind of top news for the week? I know education's got a lot to play as part of that. Over to you, Tony.
Thanks so much, Sally, and so great to see you guys as always. So yeah, exciting week. So I'm doing some mentor work and actually putting together a course at EduHacks. EduHacks, it's going to be a great hackathon. They're looking at encouraging training and development of developers. This year it's really excited, and what's piqued my interest with it is it's going to be AI focused. So I'm going to be doing some virtual emceeing of the event and some other sessions that I'm going to be working with. And then I actually am putting an actual session together on taking the developer to the salesperson. So that should be a lot of fun, right? So yeah, looking forward to it.
Fantastic. And following up on that as well, a little bit of breaking news, I'm joining you for that one. So I'm going to be doing something as well.
Oh, right. That's so awesome. I can't wait. We'll have to chat. That's awesome.
Exactly. So Canada and UK coming together, and I'm going to be doing a bit on, you probably guessed it, AI for good. So yeah, really, really excited about that. That sounds
I'm sensing that we need to get a podcast. We'll follow up.
I think we should do that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a bit of virtual emceeing as well. So yeah, like-minded. Brilliant. Love that.
Yeah. Yes. I will be talking about some TikTok news and how US is after Chinese companies in this like what I call digital Cold War brewing right now. And I'll also talk about a little bit about what I shipped this week, what I was working on, how I earned my money, kind of stuff, right? A little bit, and some maybe philosophy here and there about life and life being a techie and the challenges and all that stuff. You know, we'll see where it takes us.
Absolutely, go with the flow. I always love that. And yeah. I've just done something about John Dewey that I'm writing about at the moment, so we can touch base on the whole philosophy font later on if you like as well. Because I think sure. You really like that. And Neil, over to you. Do you want to give a little flavour about what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, well, this week I've been helping a friend of mine with his startup into the Meditek scene. And what we did and what that's all about. It's not really a plug for him. It's more of the challenges that he had as a startup, breaking into that environment, and which has always been, as my dog's just wandered off again. Sorry about that. It's the heat, right? And the regulations and everything else, a bit of a minefield. And yeah, and we'll see where that goes, really, and probably have a moan about the government like I normally do, and some of their incentives or not for companies.
Yes, sounds good. Excellent.
What are you, Sally?
On the startup front, there's something I'm involved in with Holt that's kind of in month 3, so I'll probably dovetail off the back of that one if that's okay. So cool. Maybe we go back to you, Tony, if that's all right, and start from the top with everything that's happening with the EduHack and mentoring, and just tell everybody a bit more about what that involves, because I think it's an absolutely awesome project.
For sure, and I'm quite excited. The infamous Jo Peterson, she connected me to the group, right? And I'm so excited you're part of it too. We'll have so much to talk about, right? But I've been back and forth with them, and I'm hoping, Helen, you can work with me. I know I've got her involved. And then Dan Yarmaluk, I've been doing some really good work with AI with him, right? We've got a few interesting things in the work that I can't wait to talk to you guys about as it comes out that tie into podcasting, right? So there's some real exciting initiative around that, and really what it's focused on is working with into young people, getting them excited about it, getting them learning about it, right, and intrigued and interested to get into it. And I'm sure you can talk more to the whole coding side and things that you're working with from there. But I wanted to put a little bit of that, human skill, or that I've got such a background in sales and in technology sales over the years, like yourself, Neil, and I know Sarbjeet, you've carried a bag too, right? So I mean, it's always fun to work with those. I've always loved working with developers and have been a go-between to customers to interpret what some of them are saying, but working with them on those soft skills. I've worked with many engineers and developers on building those soft skills with an HR background. So I really want to use that and kind of have some fun and some sessions to get some ideas going and getting some confidence, getting them to showcase how to use video and put their message out and sell themselves, right? If they've got a brilliant idea, sell that idea. We all have this great medium that we can jump right on with social media, and there's some great tactics that I can't wait to encourage there. But yeah, EduHacks has been, it's based, like I'm dealing with them. They're out of Vancouver, Toronto, and then also doing with some other organizations that they have some involved in. I'm sure, Sal, you can talk further to that. And, really looking forward to putting on the sessions, getting the dates down on the calendar so that I, have everything in play there. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And the real thing that is so intriguing to me about it, and part of the reason I'm involved with it, is the whole artificial intelligence focus this year, right? I feel like a lot, we've got this post-COVID and all this digital transformation, happening and everything else, but it really feels like the wave of AI is really taking off, right? So, really looking forward to further conversations on that. And, definitely when we got to tee up for the podcast, Sally, yeah.
Is a deal, definitely. And I think you're absolutely right. And for me as well, I think one of the things I'll be focusing on is AI for business, but also for society, and helping people show that you can actually do both. You can do well by doing good. So I'll be focusing on that. Also, just looking a little bit about not just looking at AI in isolation either. I've spoken about before, I love to look at how we integrate different types of technologies and how that can catalyze innovation. So I'll be trying to bring to the fore what AI can be the key enabler for, but how it works together with everything else. So kind of bringing that perspective to it, and how we can use social media to build community. So not just traditional kind of selling approach, if you see what I mean, doing it in a different way, and the emotional connection with consumers, that type of thing. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. And as you were kind of hinting at there, inspiring curiosity in people and how you can develop, how you can grow, you can get holistic skill sets. So I'm all about that. So yeah, I'm super excited to get started. I've got a big call about that on Monday. So yeah, great start to the week, so to speak.
Cool.
Excellent.
So, Tony, can I ask a question about the you're talking about the sales, bringing sales into developer.
Yeah.
How tricky is that, and what sort of challenges do you think you're going to face with it? Because techs are typically insular and have a lack of that skill set. Not that I want to upset everybody out there. Sorry, I don't mean to be, but
no. Have you ever done an exercise? I think it's called Keller's. There's a few other things like that, right? Where they identify personality traits, right? So that you get understanding what your personality trait is and what someone else's personality trait is, and how those individuals are going to be, working together, right? So I think it's first about some awareness of, what kind of role people play, but knowing that developers are of a certain way, or getting them past being somewhat introverted and taking some steps out. Now, of course, we don't want to fire them right out in the front line with 200 people sitting in front of them to have to present, right?
Yeah.
But there's certainly things that they can do, and we can work with them on, or to really build those skills. And I think that everybody should be a salesperson. I think especially in this social media age, and we're really just really into this, but there's still a big wave of social media growth had to happen. I see that still happening considerably out there, but I think it is a way that individuals can interact and get involved at a personal level and really sell themselves. And really what I want to instill and look at these individuals that are brilliant, that can develop, that are mathematical, scientific. They've got all kinds of STEM skills, right? Where they can contribute that way. And maybe, you know, those soft skills aren't really their forte, but those areas can be worked through as well, right? I feel everybody can sell themselves and, you know, sell something. It's just in how the approach works. And, you know, I think we're in some new breaking ground on really how you can sell out there in the marketplace, right? Like you still see some traditional kind of push and marketing and things like that, but more and more you see, you know, engaged individuals talking about how they work with organizations or how they get involved with it and really build out more of their own content and story out around that. So I really want to engage, you know, the social media element to the selling. I think there's a lot of, you know, capability there to build that awareness and build that recognition and really encourage these individuals that they have a great idea. And people really need to hear that message and, you know, put yourself out there and give them that confidence, right? Really get them some motivation to get out there further, right?
Absolutely. And I think just adding to that as well, there's been some real successes around developer advocacy as well. And I want to get the book down, but if I do, literally my bookcase will collapse. So don't dare do that. But if you want to look at the title, Developer Advocate, if anybody's interested in that, we can put a link to it. So I did a chapter around that, more around developers and their role in the social impact movement, effectively. But again, I think that really feeds into a lot of what you're saying there, and also about the fact that we don't all have to have the same personalities and skill sets. But we can learn to learn. And also within a different team, there's a place for all those different types of roles. We don't all have to be, you know, that heterogeneity is really, really important. So I love all of that. And I'm really excited to get stuck into that new project. And I think, Neil, as well, just thinking about what you're doing with startups, maybe that's a good segue to some of the work you're doing. And one of them in healthcare you were talking to me about earlier on. I'd love to hear a bit more about what's involved in that.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Sally. Yeah, I did. Well, this week I was working with a wannabe Meditek startup. It's interesting because it highlighted to me a lack of regulation, dare I say it, in healthcare with data. Anyway, I won't bore you with too many details, but I didn't know that the average doctor, for example, shares his patient's data on messaging platforms like WhatsApp.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's crazy, really. And you know, they have, you know, like we chatting here today, like but we're you know, we have our collective that we share details, and consultants are the same, right? When they want to say, oh, I don't really like the look of that, I need a second opinion, I just attach that image, boom, and sent it to one of his contacts, his friends on WhatsApp. And totally breach of data privacy rules for the individual and everything else. So he's got this app that creates like a Medicloud, which is pretty good. I was working with them this week. Been working with them for a little while, but I mean, the security is incredible. But they, you know, obviously HIPAA. We all know about HIPAA rules and regs in the medical trade, the data privacy with that, but also from also a FIPS 142 standpoint as well, right? That's a really harsh regulation to hit. So he was going, well, what am I going to do? I need a platform. I need this. And I said, well, and before he'd actually got it off the ground, because I haven't actually gone to funding stage yet, he's got this layer and layer and layer and layer. And you can see why the average consultant or doctor, he has got nowhere to turn to, because no one actually does this properly. And if they did, it would cost a lot of money. So anyway, cut long story short, I've been working with that, ironing out some crinkles, and he has been accepted into the IBM Accelerator, which is really good.
Yay.
It's their platform.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, their platform is FIPS 140-2 compliant, HIPAA compliant, and it hits all the boxes, you know, the hyperprotect stuff. So linked them up, had a chat with Melissa at IBM, and yeah, they're going steam ahead now, which I'm really pleased about. I'm really happy for him. And of course, we had a lot of beer in the pub garden while we were chatting as well. So we got the laptop.
It's important. It's important.
Socially distanced, obviously.
This is some sales stuff right there, Neil. Yeah. This is what the developers need to see. There is beers involved.
Yeah, no pizza. But beer, lots of beer. Well, it wasn't lots of beer. I had quite a few beers, but yeah. But the whole startup scene is quite a tricky one because, you know, as a startup, as we all know, you need experience and you need help. You know, if you try and tackle something like that and without any assistance, which most people try to do, because they always think of mentoring and also startup assistance comes with a high price, but it doesn't have to, right? And you know, a lot of people try to go it alone and go like lone warrior approach and fail fast, fail quickly, you know, or they have a long, painful death by 1,000 paper cuts just to try to keep the thing going, you know. It not off topic a little bit, but it probably is. The government scheme that got announced a few months back, post-pandemic, but it's more for existing companies, but startups too. So any startups out there, and if you've had your company registered before, if it was registered before April this year, and you're a going concern, you can actually get a loan from the government of 25% of your projected revenue, I might add, not actual, projected. And they turn these company loans around quite literally within 2-3 days. And
nice.
You have money in your account. So that's a very good thing. I can see where it will get abused, but yeah, it's a good thing. Right? Because I know a few people that have got about 5 or 6 limited companies. And
well, you would think with the WhatsApp too, like using a healthcare data on there must be some potential lawsuits out there.
But this is the thing, right? You know, this is pictures of people's like legs that have been.
Oh yeah, operations, everything, right? Personal stuff.
But he's going after a different market, which is basically the private healthcare industry, which is, you know, typically the most will get sued. Really, to be honest, for malpractice. So he's going to create, and he has created this application. It's pretty good. And I trialed it and demoed it. And, okay, it's interesting. GDPR compliant. And he's done all the groundwork. So they've been working on this for a very long time. And they're just about to launch, really. So, and yeah, and I'm impressed that they're launching it possibly on IBM hardware. We shall see. And that's not a plug for IBM, but they have got a very secure platform.
Well, it's quite bulletproof. Yeah, I've seen enough and read enough on it and been involved with it enough for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it, pretty much that, and decorating and fixing my car like I normally do every week because it always breaks. But that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Fantastic. No, that sounds great. And Sarbjeet, over to you if that's okay. What's your highlights that you'd like to share from the week so far?
Yeah, I think the highlights, I shipped some work I was working on for 3 months. It was like on and off struggle at times, working with Polycom on one end and Network Value on another, like a company I help here in San Diego. And a good friend of mine, he actually started that company a few years back. And man, that project lingered on like crazy. So like a lot of unknowns. Like that's where like tribal knowledge is the only way to learn things. Like in Polycom world, they've done a decent job of documenting their APIs and everything, but it's not out there on the web. If you search for it, like, how do you do stuff? It's not there. So the developer advocacy group can be better. Let's put it that way. I don't want to be too harsh because they helped me a lot actually. Brad from that company, gentleman, he was helping me out. So that was good stuff. And also keeping an eye on at a macro level, which I usually do, like what are the trends in technology, and then how US is after Chinese companies. There are many theories behind it. One is that Trump is it's election year. He's trying to divert people's attention from COVID because we are in a bad situation, COVID-wise, numbers-wise, based on the percent of the population infected and people dying. on all measures, we are kind of pretty bad as a developed nation. Like, we should be pretty good. It's the United States of America. You should take care of your people, right? People shouldn't be dying of this. But we messed up a little bit, and he's trying to divert, I think, attention to by clamping on Chinese technology companies and the famous ones amongst teenagers and the other one. He's going against Tencent now, which is more like B2B company versus TikTok being B2C. So that thing is going on. And during those discussions and these discussions from the last week kept on lingering on, the contract between EU and US on the data exchange. Like, we have the Cloud Act, we have the PATRIOT Act. Actually, by the way, cloud has nothing to do with cloud. It stands for Clarifying Lawful Overseas Use of Data. CLOUD. I don't know who comes up with these acronyms.
Doesn't help.
I was going to say, like...
It's like Clarifying Lawful Overseas Use of Data. Cloud. Who came up with that? Like, why? We are already confused enough with the cloud.
Just confused me on that.
I know. And the PATRIOT Act is also providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism. That's the abbreviation for PATRIOT. I thought it was PATRIOT Act, like we are being very patriotic. Like, it has nothing to do with it. So anyways, some fun facts about these laws and all that stuff. And we have a FISA law, which is from 70s, if I remember correctly, which renews every 5 years. So Congress assesses that law and how the data exchange happens between Europe and US. And that got revised last time, and it got a little more tightened, if you will. And now the Privacy Shield is in news right now, right? So that got blocked by EU, and then now the whole data exchange between cloud providers, actual cloud providers like Amazons and AWS's and the customers in Europe, it's in flux. I mean, like, people don't know where they will go, and there are special contractual agreements they can put in place in absence of clear law, if you will. And there's a lot of discussion around that. Actually, if anybody from the viewers is interested in that, you can ping me to what I know. I can tell you, but you can just Google also, right? So there's a lot of news and stuff like that, which puts our industry, which is the cloud technology providers, cloud service providers, in a sort of weird situation. Like, US leads in cloud. And it's not good. It doesn't bode well for US tech. So that was my week.